What's up, guys and gals? It's your boy Jeff coming back to you with another Extreme Nerd Table. It's been a little while, but we're back. We're back and stronger than ever. We have Randall and Marco with me today, and Tim probably going to make an appearance in a little bit.
Yo, what's up, people out there in Sharona land?
Sharona Land, yeah, I know.
That's our code word for the word we cannot speak of.
Yeah, Sharona.
My Sharona.
So, have you seen any effects of Sharona on your end, Randall? Since you're doing the online thing.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think it's affecting everybody,
Right.
or at least 90% of everybody.
But is it affecting your business?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Is it affecting anything?
It's affecting my personal business. Yeah.
That doesn't matter. No one cares.
Yeah, the travel
Not your
business. I mean,
personal,
the way I have it set up, it's not currently affecting me at the moment. You know,
Okay.
I mean, I do get the impression that like maybe one or two customers are like, well, I'll meet up with you later, you know. But I also know that some of those customers, if I like really need the money, I'll say, listen, can you go ahead and send me this much money? You know, because like the majority of my customers PayPal me, you know, so they're obviously still, some of them are still working, they're still making their money. So there's absolutely no reason for them not to be able to
Right.
send me the money and say, you know, okay, cool, just hold on to my books until we meet up later or whatever. And I'm like, no problem. I have no problem doing that. So currently right now it's not. I am working with Big Redhead Toys.
Right.
So like I have a couple customers there that pick up their books. So if it has to, you know, like he's currently still open. So
Right.
like if the city of Tampa or the state of Florida says all businesses must be shut down, everyone must be staying at home,
What I'm hearing
then
is it might
that's
be
gonna
coming
affect
tomorrow.
me a little bit.
It might be coming tomorrow or Tuesday. That might be coming tomorrow or Tuesday. So about
Yeah,
how
I really hope they're like, no, we're gonna wait until like Wednesday, Thursday to do it. Hopefully, because Tuesday, you know, my books are coming in. That's when I
right.
go pick up the books. So I
Right.
still want to be able to go at least pick up the books and, you know,
Right.
organize, get everything set up. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough for them to shut everything down. You know, it's just a big part of my language, clusterfuck. It's a big clusterfuck.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, excuse me one.
For that hard cough?
Also,
He's got the Sharona.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have been sick this past week. I don't believe it's the coronavirus because I'm not showing any symptoms.
Hey.
Oh yeah, Corona. Sorry.
Jesus.
They may not. They may not.
We can't bring you nowhere, Randall. What's up, Javi? Conquistadorks is my brother. What's up?
Cool. What's up?
What's up?
So Marco, how do you think it's gonna affect like DC? You know, all the big companies. Do you think that
it's that's currently what's going that's going on right now. Some publisher, well, Marvel, their thing was that they announced, and Bleeding Cool and Graphic Policy reported on it. I think other sites have reported. I think every site, comics news site, has reported on it. So Marvel is offering really huge discounts to stores. A lot of stores are mad because they're like, huge discount. What does huge discount do me if I can't sell these books? You know, so
and it's only for 1 month.
Yeah, it's only for 1 month, for 4 Wednesdays, the one that just passed, and 3 more. So stores are like, make these books FOC, you know, and make them FOC for a longer period. So they're wanting that. Maybe Marvel Monday or sometime this week will change their minds and say, you know, we'll make FOC also. DC hasn't responded, but Bleeding Cool did say that DC has been working on what they're going to do, and so it should hopefully be tomorrow they announce it. I think, honestly, DC might end up doing FOC plus the discounts. The Invisible Mylar Man. Which I saw the Invisible Man today. So, the Invisible Mylar Man.
There you go.
He took the invisible suit off.
There's a special quarantine. That's Quarantine Man.
He's in a Mylar quarantine.
Hey, you know what? Do you remember like on Saturday Night Live when they had a Canteen Boy? You know, they had Canteen Boy. So you got Tim here is a Quarantine Man. And start talking like Adam Sandler.
Look, I just want to be, being a local celebrity here in the Tampa Bay area, I want to reach out to all my friends and family and text them in this time of need, all cuddled up with their friends and family in their houses, and I'm going to sing them all a little song. I want to entertain all those people. Here we go. Me. There is a little virus spreading across this land, and they say you won't catch it if you just wash your hands, called Corona. Corona. Hello, guys.
Not worried about it.
We're not calling it by its name. We're calling it Sharona.
Corona, because just in case I wanted to get monetized later, it's gonna demonetize the video.
So DC's working on their thing. Randall's video is frozen. Is Randall? Yeah. Randall's just like.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We can see frozen Randall. Randall's like.
It's the damn government. Damn government.
Next
video.
Next thing you know, you're gonna hear Randall be like, "Hey, get off me! What are you doing in my house?" The military took him away.
Yeah. So how is it going with you, Tim? With both shops? How are they looking? Good.
We are killing it. We are doing great business-wise. There's been a lot of traffic in both stores. We're having digits.
Okay.
Why? Because people are coming in. They're pulling their subs. They're buying back issues. Everybody who want to reach you for supporting your local comic book store, supporting the comic book industry as a whole, coming out and braving the wilderness to buy some comics. Let me tell you guys deserve a round of applause. And
Randall also deserves a round of applause for the new image he's taking where he's smiling Randall now.
There's nothing I can do. I don't know what happened. My video was fine until Tim showed up.
Boot out and boot back in.
Come back in. Kick yourself out, Randall, and jump back in, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, let me try it. Hold on.
He loved my singing so much. It just put a perpetual smile on his face.
Right? He's just like.
That's your mutant ability, Tim. You sing and you freeze people.
That's right. There you go.
It's like that episode of Buffy with the singing demon, the musical episode. And the demon starts singing, everyone starts going to song and dance. Yeah. That was good stuff.
I love that.
Hey, Tim, do you think they're going to set up a curfew and stuff and tell like any non-essential businesses to shut down, you think, by next week? Do you think that's going to happen?
Do you want to really know my opinion?
Yeah, I do, actually.
That kind of stuff really works in New York City and Chicago and LA. Why? Because people live on top of each other over there. Comic book stores are on the second floor of businesses because they have to go through another business to get to the comic book store. Look, we're in Florida. We have residential areas where my nearest neighbor is, 500 feet to the left. We're not. I don't think we're going to get locked down. I don't see why we should be locked down. And if we do get locked down, it's ridiculous. It's bad business. Look, as a comic book store worker and manager, I got to tell you, we've extended so many different opportunities and ways for you to come and buy your books, be it calling us up and placing an order, curbside service. I've even offered to deliver to people's homes. When it comes to things like restaurants, a smart restaurant entrepreneur wouldn't close down. What they would do is they would limit the amount of capacity in their restaurant. They would have their host seat people appropriately to where they are scattered throughout the restaurant. Yeah, it might
Right.
cut their restaurant down to maybe a third of what they would normally do, but at least they won't go out of business. Hey, you know what? How many people save a little bit of money for an emergency or a rainy day?
Well, I mean, statistically, they say that 80% of people only maybe have $1,000 in their bank account in the United States.
Oh,
And
look,
$1,000
Randall's out of
should be able to
Lipsync.
get you through. Yep, and
I'm sorry?
$1,000 should get you through a month.
Give or take, depending on where you live, what you do.
No,
Randall looks
should get you
Randall
through
looks like a
month because-
badly dubbed Japanese movie.
Huh?
You look like a badly dubbed Japanese movie.
I don't care
Randall.
what kind of
Oh, okay.
I don't care what kind of mortgage you have in your house or what kind of rent you pay. You can always defer it to the back of the loan. If you know anything about finances, you can defer things to the back of the loan. Most landlords are being very forgiving for this particular event in the United States, and even governmental orders from the United States government has come down for people who are saying that they have to give their tenants
I think
time to
that's
recuperate.
I think that's per state, and
I
there
think
hasn't
we're
been a lot of,
starting to see
as far as I know. I mean, hopefully,
Well, that's because too
we're
many
gonna.
people are panicking. Two people.
Oh no, like we haven't even
Too many
hit
people
the
are
worst.
panicking.
We haven't even hit the worst part yet, because we're only into this 1 week. 3 weeks. 3 weeks from now is when we're going to start seeing a lot of bad shit happening.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I actually do not think so. Do you know why I can tell you that right now is because China took it around, and it took them 3 months. They started their first I believe real person who had it was like November, December, January, February.
How many months did you say it took?
We started getting it beginning of March, late of February. Say again.
How many months did you say it took them?
About
Took them
3 months.
3 months, yeah. Just 1 month of this right now. Look how much it's hurt our economy, how much it's hurt our country. That's 1 month. We got 2 more months to go. It's not going to look good. And it really depends on what our government isn't the same as the
We're not hiding anything. We
China's
already got
government.
big businesses working to reorganize.
There's a lot of layoffs, man. There's a lot of layoffs.
Yeah.
A friend of mine who buys comic books from me, he manages at a restaurant, and I asked him, "Hey, things going with you? How's work going?" And he said he had to lay off 36 people. He had to lay off 36 people in 1 day.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you this. Why are they laying people off?
Because they don't have the money. One, they're not getting in the business that they normally do, and then two, they're planning ahead, man. They're doing everything they can according to how much money do they have, what they have in their budget. They're planning worst case scenario.
I think there's extreme circumstances going on here. People aren't getting laid off or let go. They're being told to go home. People are taking that as being laid off. And even if they tell you, I'm sorry, but there's no work for you here today.
I'm sorry.
Well,
My buddy is a manager, and he said, word for word, I had to lay them off. And he's like, I didn't send them home. I laid them off. I had to lay 36 people off. There's friends of mine in Texas that are going through furlough right now.
So what business is he? What kind of business does he do?
He works in a restaurant.
Okay, so if next week the restaurant reopens, what are they going to do?
I'm
Where's
pretty sure
their
the
employees going to be? Mass hiring?
Even if they open up again, you know that they're still going to be talking about social distancing. They're still going to be telling people, don't go out, don't do this, don't do that. The business is not going to go back to normal like that. It's not going to happen. It's gonna take time for it to like grow and grow and grow. You don't see that at the comic book store, which is great. That's fantastic.
No.
Hopefully it doesn't happen at all to the comic book store. But you never know.
No. I still think people are panicking. Chipotle's still open. I just went to Chipotle today. they closed their lobby. That's takeout orders only. They're telling
about a very popular chain. Of course, popular chains are going to remain open, and but I'm talking about like individual restaurants, big restaurants.
Let me tell you something, pal. Let me tell you something. Individual restaurants, individual businesses, small businesses, you either learn to adapt and change the way you do business,
right,
or you close your doors. And you know what?
And that's exactly what they're doing. By laying off 36 people, they are adapting.
Can Chipotle take this time to learn how to make better queso? Because that would be nice. That would be nice. That would be nice if they could do that.
They should just stop making queso altogether.
I read somewhere that there's been a very, very large increase in what do you call it? What's it called, Marco? Where the unemployment, where people file for unemployment? That's it, right?
I didn't file for unemployment. I mean, what term are you? You mean where?
There's been a large increase. They said about an increase of 30% in the entire United States.
Not people filing for unemployment,
How long does it take to file for unemployment? Anybody know?
No, because I've never had to.
Yeah, I've never had to either.
Yeah, I
Didn't
haven't
Joel
had
do
to
it? It took him like a month.
Takes almost 3 months. Sometimes it could take up to 3 months to get your first check.
Hey, look.
And this is from somebody who's had to file for unemployment. Because there's things that you have to do. There's paperwork that needs to be submitted. What did it say?
From 60 employees a day to 10.
Telling people they can't work. I totally understand that. People being out of jobs, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But these restaurants or these businesses, what they should do is they should take the fear out of people, and instead of just letting 6 people go, everybody's got to take the brunt of it. Go on a revolving schedule. Make sure that you keep your doors open. Right now, the best thing to do is keep your doors open and actually stay in business.
I agree.
Find a new way to do business.
I agree, but also with the state and with the government getting involved, telling people like you have to reduce your hours, or you have to close, or you can't have any customers coming into your store.
No, reduced hours is not a governmental thing. That's big cities, New York City, where, like I said, the population is 3 times the size of Tampa Bay. We're in a different community. It's going to be different for everybody. You're going to think that some Kentucky farm is going to get closed down that's in the middle of 16 acres? No, they're not.
First off, there's lots of social distancing working at a farm anyways. You got like one person like working 1 acre, and then you have another person working another acre. Like, hey, you got the Sharona? No, I'm good over here.
I'd be like, Randall Armstrong's farm has the Sharona. Don't go there.
But let me tell you something. There's a lot of people out there that most likely will need help.
Mm-hmm.
They will need a lot of help. We have subs who are struggling with having business issues. We're not forcing them to buy books. We're not turning them away.
Mm-hmm.
They can put their sub on a freeze or a hold, or they can buy vouchers, or spend a little bit of money saying that they're going to spend this money in the future, so it's not a big impact. $20 a week, $20 every 2 weeks, $20 a month.
So Jane Castor, the mayor of Tampa, because like we were mentioning earlier, possible like complete shutdown, probably maybe Monday or Tuesday. Do you think you guys are going to stay open?
I'm going to continue going to work.
Yeah.
We don't have that many people in our store.
Yeah, and I have to go to work, so it doesn't matter. I even got a letter if we get shut down.
You got a letter that you can show that you have to be at work, right?
Yep. A letter, and then I have to show them my badge. So.
Essential services. Yep. Comic book stores aren't essential services.
I got a letter. I got a letter that says I have to be at work. It's a contract I signed the other day. I have to be in front of my computer writing.
So are you okay to talk about that now?
No, I still can't. I can't talk about it until the publisher announces it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I just signed a contract. Well, we just got the contracts. We signed the contracts, and then we got the contracts today signed from the publisher. So that's second contract of the year down. Now I got a third one in the works. So this is with another big indie publisher, and then hopefully I got a couple that'll be in the works by or in the middle of summer. So that would be awesome because it'll keep me busy. Some of it will be upfront pay. Most of it, the other ones will be back end pay, as is publishing, depending on the publisher and the creator-owned works. Same thing as novels.
Read anything? You guys read anything new? Read anything new? Read anything lately?
I finished reading. What did I finish reading? I finished reading 100% from Paul Pope. I got re-released by Image Comics.
Nice.
So I finished that.
Cool.
That's a massive 200-something page book. So I finished that.
I've started reading.
Actually,
you got the hotel. Nice.
Yeah, I read. Actually, it says hell. It's not even the HOT is completely blank. It's hell.
Yeah, but if you look on the
book
inside of if you look on the inside of the, it's going to say hotel.
Yeah, I'm messing with you.
But interesting story
cool.
about AWA. They reached out to me, and so I signed up for the publisher. There was a publisher deal where you get a $250 credit. So I went to their site. I signed up through it. I did this all via Bleeding Cool because Bleeding Cool did an article on it. And so last week, because Diamond made a mistake. Surprise, surprise. My Diamond bill was basically supposed to be like $260 or $261 or whatever. Ended up being $11 and change. They gave me a $250 credit from AWA. But that $250 credit was only supposed to be for the AWA titles. So I called my Diamond rep. I emailed my Diamond rep, then he called me. I talked to him. He's like, I have no idea what this promotion is. And I explained to him what it was. So he's like, okay, let me talk to some other people here at Diamond and figure this out. And then he even asked me, hey, do you think you can get in touch with somebody at AWA to confirm and make sure, And so there's a whole lot of back and forth between AWA and Diamond.
Well, right now their whole catalog of AWA is 75% off at Diamond.
Yeah, which is weird because they didn't give me 75% off on the product. So I don't, that's another thing I'll have to talk to my rep about. But for the most part, because I remember when they were, when I put in the orders for the books, I remember that they mentioned on there, like, the first issues will be 75% off. And then my invoice doesn't even show, like I got 35% off. But anyways, I got this $250 credit, and I talked to Diamond, and I say, okay, listen, this credit is only supposed to be for AWA titles, but you gave it on my entire Diamond order. So I need to know, like, what's going to happen here? Are you guys going to basically take back that $250, slam that $250 that I owe you guys, and put it on another Diamond bill? And so my Diamond rep says, like, for the time being, to my understanding, we won't be taking that credit back from you. I'm like, okay. But I don't underestimate Diamond. I have a feeling that they will eventually do that. It's a huge, huge mess, because when I talk to AWA says that, that's only supposed the credit is only supposed to be for AWA titles, and it shouldn't be for your entire Diamond bill, because obviously that credit went towards paying the Marvel books that I got, the DC books that I got, the other independent title books I got. So like AWA is like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. And I told them, like, well, that's what's happening on my invoice. So hopefully we'll wait and see. Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe Diamond's like, you get a freebie. Here you go. And I'll be like, yeah, saved like $250.
Well, it's happened during a really crazy crisis, so I wouldn't doubt that you won't.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, no, AWA is great, man. I got every one of the issues. I want to continue getting them all, but we'll see how my money situation is going right now.
They're actually good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
dude,
How about
we have-
you?
we
How
have-
about you, Randall? Are they closing the empanada shop down?
Yeah. I got the next 30 days. I'm not working. So
And
I'm
I'm guessing they're not paying you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not getting paid. If I'm not working, I'm not getting paid.
Mhm.
So I'm probably like in the next couple weeks going to start looking for another job. And she can't be upset if I find something else, because
Unless
Yeah.
she sees this and then she's like, I'm very
she's not going to
upset.
see this. She doesn't even see like 75% of my Facebook posts and we're friends on Facebook.
She's gonna be like, so I was on the Facebooks yesterday and I saw this video you were on. So you're going to leave?
No, I mean she's hoping like same thing like everybody else. She's hoping like this is only going to last like 30 days. It's not. I think we mentioned it earlier. It's going to be like probably 3 months. It's going to be like 90 days of this going on. So I just got to go look for something. But I'm sure I'll find something like in a couple weeks.
I'm glad I got stuff to last me a while.
All right. Do the math. How long does the virus last on a hard surface?
What is it, 7 days? I think
On a hard surface, 7 days.
that's what I heard. I think 7 to 10
Oh.
days, maybe.
How long does it last on paper product?
Oh, I don't know.
And how long does a normal individual suffer with the illness?
I think it varies because they said that even if you're healed
Normal
from it,
person.
even if you're healed from it, it's still in your system. They said that it's in your system for at least 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah.
You can have it for up to 30 days before you even show any symptoms of it.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, yeah.
So how is it going to go away at all?
It's not. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. It's going to be, all they're doing is they're slowing the spread down to give them time to work on a vaccine. That's my theory. That's my guess.
I mean, they're working on the vaccine no matter what. I mean, slowing the spread just means less people get it, means less people, that can die from it because they have complications like old age, diabetes, heart disease, et cetera, et cetera. But whether the slowing down does nothing to stop the speed of them getting a vaccine. That's, they're working way faster than it's possible to get, than was, should be possible. So
Yeah.
Rindo, you see the question?
Which one?
On
Is
the-
your boss
on the
very
screen.
confident she will reopen?
not if he's coughing like that, she won't open. She'll be
Right.
like,
Yeah,
go away.
Her business relies on, because we do like the St. Pete Saturday Market, we do like Hyde Park Market. Without those markets, she won't have the amount of money that she needs to stay in business. So it really depends on those markets. And those markets depend on the current situation. So like right now, there is no market. And in the summertime, it's a slower market. So my assumption is that, if everything by the time October hits, we're semi back to normal, then we're back in business as per usual. For her, I'm sure I'll be long gone before then. But for her, excuse me.
Look at this man. This man is that's a horrible. I don't know if it's a phlegmy or a hard cough. Just sounds like death over there.
I don't want to sound like a snowflake, but this does not feel like a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Soon this virus is gonna mutate. It's gonna go through the computer, and then the rest of us are gonna get it.
I think I'm spending way too much screen time with you trailblazers, and I really should stop being negative.
Hey, if I hit this share screen button, does it share what's on
Yeah.
my screen?
Yeah, it should.
And then if I hit it again, it stops sharing it.
Yeah.
Because there's this cool. You guys read Hellboy?
Yeah.
There's this book called Fearless Dawn. I never read it, but it always looked cool. It's very pulpy.
Oh.
And
When you
Hellboy.
share, it should come up on my end, and then I should be able to hit it. Or you should be able to. Yep.
Hold on.
Have you hit it?
It's from. Yeah, hold up. It's from what's his name's company,
Wow.
The Goon. The Goon. Hold on. Here, share
Albatross.
screen.
Eric Powell's company.
Albatross.
Yeah, Albatross.
Albatross. Yeah.
It's a team up.
Are you sure?
Oh
that
yeah,
this,
yeah.
You should go to Bleeding Cool. Just go to Bleeding Cool, Jeff, and you share it because I don't think that.
Why do you guys
right.
even listen to Bleeding Cool? Bleeding Cool is the worst source of information that's on the internet for comic books.
No, I'm sorry.
Man, every comic news site is the worst. Is the worst source of information for comic book news. There hasn't been a quality comic news interview, in-depth conversation since like forever. Like, and there can't be, cause ain't nobody can make money off of that. You know. I wish there was a great site where you pay a couple of bucks a month and you get like these in-depth interviews with pros. You get, behind the scenes exclusives. Just like if I'm going to sit in front of a goddamn computer and go read comic news, I would very much like a choice, comic site.
But all that's the only thing that Bleeding Cool and Screen Rant and all these other guys do, all they do is they wait for DC to post something, and then they take it from the DC site and they post it on their own damn site. And they do the same thing with Marvel and Image. All they're doing is collecting the information for you so you can go to one site and see it. But
that makes my life easier.
Hold on. But they also put their own spin to it, like the one that I just read on Bleeding Cool, where Marvel has got this new title that I'm sure you've all heard of the New Warriors debacle. I actually made a joke with you guys about Safe Space and Snowflake and Be Negative and Trailblazer and Screen Time, which to me, to be honest with you, I don't give a damn. If it's a comic book that sells, I don't care who comes in my store and buys it. That's all I can say about it. If it was my store, I would like to cater to everybody. Is it ruining the industry? No. Are they trolling them? Possibly. But all I can say is that if you read the article that Bleeding Cool does, it's very funny because they're saying the new Warriors are they screwing around, with the comic book industry? Is Marvel trolling everybody? And they start the article off as being diverse characters. Of different backgrounds, of different religions. And then they said, if you don't like a comic book like that, well, then I guess you don't like Giant Size X-Men #1 because that's the one that did it all before. You know?
Yeah.
But
I think the difference is, one, when Giant Size X-Men #1 came out, the internet didn't exist. And two, everybody just has this mentality, this agenda. Everyone's tribal. Everyone kind of leans towards like one group of people that have the same mentality, and of course, they feel like what's going on now is forced. It's forced on them. Like, we're not asking for this. Why are you giving us this? And it's just like anything else. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and then money talks. So if Marvel sees that they're putting something out and it doesn't sell, guess what? Doesn't work. Push something else.
Bleeding Cool's agenda doesn't work on me because I just go there, check out the news, and I filter pretty much everything else out. I don't care what. Like, I don't care what. There's one or two. There's one on the movie TV section, and then one in the comic book section that every time I click on an article and I see their name, I'm just like.
Yeah.
But so I skip that. So I skip that article, and then I just go read the ones that have the news I want to see, like someone's releasing a new comic, stuff like that. But I go to like Graphic Policy, Bleeding Cool, Newsarama. I don't go to CBR anymore because Comic Book Resources is trash now. It's been trash for a while after it got sold. And I don't even care about saying that. Like, I know people be like, oh, you shouldn't say that because, you're getting the business. I don't care. They're literally just a site that's like a list. Just that their articles are nothing but lists. And when it comes to the big convention times, then they'll put up articles about like, this was announced from Marvel, this was announced from DC Image, and here we're interviewing this big creator. But other than that, CBR doesn't really care about anybody but
remember when,
the list.
Remember when the big source was Wizard? Like, that was the source that I think everyone...
I remember when there was Wizard, and then there was Heroes Illustrated, and then there was a couple other ones I can't remember. The biggest one being Wizard. Heroes Illustrated was trying to vie for that. Heroes Illustrated was a nice alternative, and I really liked them as an alternative to Wizard because they had a sort of like, Wizard had like, hey, we're the cool guys, but then Heroes Illustrated had like, hey, we're trying to be the more edgier cool guys. Like, we're trying to be punk rock. Yeah. And then you had a couple other magazines that, popped up here and there, maybe lived for like a year and then died. But those were the times, man. It was getting that crisp Wizard magazine, opening it up. And when you're young and you think your comic books are going to be worth something when you're older, and you realize they're not, but you go to that section and you're like, how much is it worth now? Ooh, it went up 50 cents.
Wizard, very much like Playboy magazine, you got it to read it for the articles.
My favorite part of Wizard was the top 10 artists and top 10 writers.
Yeah.
Because
that was always fun.
Anytime I saw an artist or writer that I liked get into the top 10, and back then for me it was mostly more artists because I was wanting to become a comic book artist.
Yeah.
So when I would see one, I remember Todd McFarlane. I think it was Todd McFarlane was the one that was the longest on the #1 spot in Wizard top 10. And I remember one day opening it up, and I'm like, "What? He's number 2?" I don't remember who's number 1, but I remember seeing that and just being like,
"I bet you it was Jim Lee."
And just being like, "This is insane. He's been dethroned."
I mean, one of the things I remember, like, I love that Wizard did for me was when I was buying comic books, like
Superman.
Yeah. But no, like I was collecting. Remember Marvel Knights Daredevil? I was collecting Daredevil when Kevin Smith was working on it. Joe Quesada was doing the art, and then David Mack kind of took over the art and story, I think. And I got so bored with Daredevil that I was just like, you know what? I'm canceling the book. So I canceled Daredevil, and then many issues down the road, you have Bendis and Maleev working on Daredevil. And even then, I was like looking at Maleev's art, and I was like very like iffy on the art. I was just like, it's not the art style that I'm into. So I don't know if I want to even read Daredevil again. But I just remember like Wizard like highlighting like, oh man, he's Bendis is killing it on Daredevil. It's definitely worth checking out and reading, and like his identity and all this other stuff that's going on. So I decided to pick up like a couple issues, and I just remember reading those issues, and I was just thinking like, wow, this was really well written, and the story and the art really meshed. So thanks to Wizard Magazine, I was able to jump onto the Bendis and Maleev Daredevil run.
David Mack was only on for 6 issues. You were like so fast, like, I'm bored. I can't stay around for 6 issues.
2 issues in, man. 2 issues in. I'm like,
you know how many? Do you know how many crappy probably Superman books you stuck through? Because trust me, back then there was a lot of crappy stories going around. You couldn't.
And I'm ride or die with Superman.
You couldn't sit through 6 issues of David Mack. You're like garbage to the wind.
I'm just like, I could be buying another book with better art than this.
It's like,
no offense to the David Mack fans,
man, you're insane.
He is a very talented, and his painting and it's beautiful, but it just doesn't work for me. It's not my if I'm going to get any kind of painted art style.
I'm sorry it wasn't Electric Blue Superman art.
you guys make me feel old. I remember reading the Comic Book Buyer's Guide. It was a newspaper, what we used to call in the industry a trade. Back before trade paperbacks came out, we actually had magazines and newspapers that considered the trading of comic books to be a business. And we had the Comic Books Buyer's Guide. We had Comic Shop News. We had
Comic Shop News.
You were probably still picking up comic books when Stan Lee was editor in chief of Marvel Comics.
Yes, he was. He was.
You were
Yeah,
probably still picking up comic books when the boys were on the side with the newspapers. Get your newspaper, sir! Get your newspaper!
I remember when they hired a 17-year-old. Actually, I remember when they hired him when he was 14. When they hired what's his name?
Paul Levin?
What's his? No. They came after. There was like 3 or 4 people after Stan Lee left as editor in chief, and then of course it was what's his name? Jim Shooter.
Yeah.
Oh, when he became editor in chief.
Yeah,
Jim Shooter is
at 19.
He was my
Wow.
he was editor of my favorite era of Marvel, even though it's the era where a lot of people like either hated or loved Shooter during his era. There was no in between. There was no, no, it was either you hated him or you loved him. I've never heard an in between of Jim Shooter.
That's because he made you work. He made you work. If he didn't like what you sent, he'll send the pages back and say, fix it. He made him work.
And he was responsible for a lot of Marvel firsts, the returning of arts, royalties. He was responsible for a lot of stuff that later DC did, like, that later DC did with Vertigo, Epic Comics and all that stuff. Like, he was responsible for a lot of crazy things that Marvel somehow later felt wasn't good enough for Marvel anymore.
And then the crazy creators like Marv Wolfman and John Byrne, and they wouldn't settle into what Jim wanted, and they ended up revolting against him, and he ended up getting fired because of the friction. But if you really want to see a really good story of Jim Shooter, check out Comic Tropes. I'm going to shout out to Comic Tropes. He's got a great video on YouTube about Jim Shooter, and it tells you how great of a man he was in the comic book industry and how he fell so hard. And then he ended up going to Valiant, and then Valiant, he did Valiant for like 3 years or 4 years, and then he got kicked out of Valiant, out of his own damn company
because they had the board, the board of directors. Yep. They were like, we can sell this company now. Yep. I remember Wizard saying, this is how crazy it got into the 90s. I remember Valiant was doing so well that Wizard, this was probably hyperbole because, that's what Wizard did best. Their whole thing was, Valiant is doing so well. And at this point, I think Marvel was kind of like, because, the Image guys had left and all that stuff. They were like, Valiant could probably overtake Marvel, in its spot, that's how crazy the 90s was. And then, of course, they screwed over Jim Shooter, and they were all like, yeah, we can sell the company. And then eventually it got sold to Acclaim, and then eventually Acclaim messed it up. But that's how crazy things were back then. But they need to do a documentary on Shooter, because if you go to Amazon, the Chris Claremont documentary, that's a pretty good documentary. A little too short. I wish it was a little bit longer, but the Chris Claremont documentary on there is awesome. The 2000 AD documentary on there is awesome. They have a Steve Rude documentary on there that's good. Nice. That one's a really good one because it goes into Steve Rude's whole, because Steve Rude has some issues, personal, mental issues and all that. So it goes into that, and it's kind of a heartbreaking documentary, but it's also just really, really good.
What is this on?
If you go to Amazon, you can find I don't know if they're still up for viewing, but I remember, months ago, probably 2-3 months ago, they had the Chris Claremont one, the 2000 AD, if anyone who knows British comics, 2000 AD. They had the Steve Rude one. They had the Steve Rude. I don't know which other ones they have on there. I thought they had another one. I know a while back I saw the Image documentary. That one was good. Not the sci-fi one and not the Kirkman one for his show. There was the one that was done, by this one group, and they did it with all the Image guys and everything. And it was I think a 90-minute documentary. I forgot what the group was, but they did an Image Comics one. They did a Grant Morrison one. They did a Warren Ellis one. I don't know if those are on Amazon. But yeah, comic documentaries are some of the best things. A Jim Shooter one I would love. That thing would have to be 2.5 hours long. There's so much. Jim Shooter Jim Shooter started writing when he was 14. Comics.
He should be like Jim Shooter in the 80s and then Jim Shooter in the 90s.
You can't. He's done so much in the industry, and the man still when he went back to DC and he did that run of Legion of Superheroes, which was supposed to be like 15 issues, and they screwed him over on the last arc. So he went with the pen name Just in Time, so that if you read it, it reads Just in Time, even though it's spelled Justin Time, time like THYME. But that one, I remember reading it, I was like, man, Jim Shooter still has it. Because sometimes, a lot of the older guys, even though you still like reading their writing, when they write modern comics, they kind of write it still with an older
Chris
style
Claremont.
of voice.
Chris Claremont, perfect example.
I think Chris Claremont has gotten better. When he was doing when he was doing Extreme X-Men, it was very like, oh, Chris, you're doing a lot of the power to control the wind.
But at least Extreme X-Men had really good art.
But
Salvador Larroca at some of his best.
When he came back to do X-Men, I think the third time, when it was
X-Men Forever.
That was really good. But when he came back and it was Rachel was on the team and Kitty Pryde, I think Rachel was running the team. Rachel Gray was running the team. That was really good. Claremont X-Men. When he was writing Excalibur again, that was really good. Claremont.
I remember when he jumped on Exiles, and I heard Exiles was doing really, really good, and then he jumped on it, and then the book got canceled.
Yeah, his Exiles was not good. That was the one that when he got that
should be a book that should come back.
When he got that third or fourth breath at Marvel, that Exiles wasn't. And this is what's funny thing is Chuck Austin, who I didn't really care for a lot of Chuck Austin's writing, but his Exiles was fantastic. I think Chuck is the one who put Supreme onto the team. Not Supreme, the dude from Supreme Power, from Squadron Supreme. Hyperion. He's the one who put Hyperion on the team.
I don't know, because Judd Winnick was the first writer, and then I think Chuck Austin took over after Judd Winnick.
No, I think there was somebody else, and I think it was Tony Bedard.
Tony is the one that had the longest and some of the best stories on Exiles.
But Chuck Austin, I believe he's the one who put Hyperion on, and I was surprised. Chuck Austin did a good run because I didn't like his Superman at all.
I thought Superman was okay.
No, man, he was writing Lois Lane he had this weird tick where he was writing all the women bitchy. He wrote Polaris really bitchy. He wrote Lois Lane really bitchy, and I was just like, what is with the what do you?
Chuck Austin's writing from experience, and I was
so.
In the Superman run, wasn't it Ian Churchill that was doing the art?
No, I think he did covers, but it wasn't Ian Churchill.
I remember who did the art.
Yeah, what William Cirola said. Love Sovereign 7. Didn't care for the ending, but that's because they canceled the book on Chris Claremont. So he purposely says when you ask him, he's like, "Yeah, I just wrote the ending because we knew the book was wrapping up, and I just figured, F it, we're gonna go with that ending." But Sovereign 7 was good stuff. His Gen 13, the art was great, Ale Garza, but the writing was whatever.
Oh, so we were mentioning earlier about what we've been reading, and so me and Marco, a good friend of ours, the great Larry Young, who was a publisher in the late '90s, early 2000s. He had the AIT/Planet Lar publishing brand. So he was kind enough to be like, hey man, I want to send you some trades. I want to send you some stuff. Anything you want in particular. And I was just straight up honest with him. I was like, listen, man, the stuff that you put out, the independent stuff, I wasn't big on reading independent books at that time. I explained that it was Marco. He was the guy who was all on the independent scene at that time. And so I told him, honestly, I hadn't read any of your stuff. But I told him, whatever you think is the best, that, stuff that, work that you did that you're I think this is the best work right here. Whatever you think is the best. Send that to me. I'd love to read it. So he sent me a stack of trades, all for free. He paid $16 shipping. You can see it right on the box. Super nice, super great guy. He worked with Charlie Adler because not only was he a publisher, he was also a writer, and he worked with Charlie Adler long before Walking Dead, which is cool.
You got any of those near you, so you can show them off? You got any of them near you, so you can show them off?
I have one book with me. The stack is kind of over there, but this is the one that I've been reading right here. The Astronauts in Trouble.
It's a great. I have the image collection of all the volumes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Tim, have you read it?
I can't even see it. I'm not wearing my glasses.
Ah,
That's not going to help. I'm not going to be able to see it.
Closer,
Yeah.
Randall. Push it closer. Put it right on the thing.
Look at
Hey, I see a guy with a goatee. I
Yeah,
think.
there you
no,
go.
just hold it up so that he can see the title.
What
There
is
you
it
go.
called? Live from the Moon?
Trouble.
Astronauts in Trouble, Live from the Moon. No, I haven't read that. That's probably a self-published graphic novel.
I released through
Yeah.
Diamond. I mean, like, they even have like they reprinted. I don't know if it's like a complete collection or the first few trades, but they put it in hardcover.
Right.
What was the name of their
I got
company?
something-
Huh?
Mhm.
What was the name of this company?
What's the name of the company?
The name of the company is AIT, and then there's like a slash, and it says Planet Lar, LAR.
They were
So
around.
AIT.
They were around in the late '90s to probably the late 2000s. They did stuff with Brian
Wow.
Wood. They did stuff with Charlie Adler. They did stuff a lot of creators with Matt Fraction before
Yeah.
Matt Fraction became big and
Oh.
all that.
Yeah.
He then closed up shop and he re-released Astronauts in Trouble through Image, and Image did a
No,
trade
okay.
collection recently.
Well,
Yeah,
you guys remember I interviewed the artist a couple of weeks or almost a month ago. He
Oh,
sent me
nice.
some stuff, and I finally got it. So
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
guys.
He sent you some
Hold on.
stuff.
I was like, he sent me some stuff. He pushed the button from there. I'm like, did he send you some porn? Because this looks like porn.
hold on. Yeah, see.
Realistic
Harley.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and then I got I already had put up Vampirella. He sent me a Vampirella too. I already put her up.
Nice.
Yep.
Do you put those type of stuff? Is that in an office you have, or is that in all over your apartment so that when the ladies walk in, they're like, "Yes, this screams bachelor."
No, it's in the room. It's actually in my room. Some of them are in my
Wait,
room.
your bedroom or the an office room? Bedroom. Oh,
Office. Yeah, bedroom and office, both. So I got them split in both.
I also brought these, and I know Tim will appreciate these. I think these just came out like last week. I think I happened to be at Target. I
Oh,
saw
wow.
them by accident, and I was like, "Oh,
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have to get some of these." So I got
Come on.
the Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah, yeah. The flip up that you can flip up the thing and it's got a little. Yeah. There's a Back to the Future car. There's a Batmobile. There's like 3 movie cars in that set.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
bet you there were plenty of
Was it
those.
Knight Rider? Was that Knight Rider?
yeah, it
Yeah.
was Knight Rider.
Scooby Doo. Yeah,
no.
yeah. Those are
I
cool.
bet you there were,
What's
yeah, I bet you
There's
there were
something
plenty of those.
yeah? They're like computer cars. They're like digital cards, right?
I think so.
I half expected Tim to do this.
I got it.
As soon as Randall was showing
Mhm.
these off, right? I half
That's
expected
way
Tim to.
more than that.
Yeah, that's way too small for that box. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. It should be way bigger.
Zoom out of Randall. I got a joke to make.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
I half expected Tim to do this when Randall was like, Tim's like, oh yeah, I know those. Boom! Here they are. Okay? You're not telling me anything new, kid.
Those
He
came out
probably has
6
them.
months ago.
He probably has.
They've been
it,
out for a
on the
while?
office.
They've been out for about a month now.
Okay.
So what are the purpose of them? Like, you connect them to their computer and they show you a video clip and you're like, yay, I saw my thing in the clip.
Well, you're supposed to like download like the Hot Wheels app and like I guess keep
You can
track.
collect digital cards. You can collect 3D image. You can like walk around it, open the doors, go in it, and you got all the specs. You can race the cars. You can like challenge someone to a race, and if your car is faster according to the specs, you can beat them. There's all kind of cool little things that you can do. It's making it an interactive game, which is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. But I'm also like, I'm one of those people that like, I get something like that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing all that work.
It makes it like the Nintendo things, the
Oh, the
figures.
Amiibos.
The-
Amiibo.
Yeah,
Amiibo.
yeah, exactly.
Nintendo Amiibo.
Yeah.
See, now
It's
Tim is
just a Hot
coming.
Wheels vehicle.
Tim is coming with all the cars. He's like, "Ha, suckers! I do have them."
No, I'm just putting my avatar in place. And you guys can, so I can go grab something. I have an avatar in place of me, so you can just,
Ah.
stay with my avatar.
I feel like that's something you'd see in Johnny Quest.
This is my avatar. So
He's like, "This is my
This is my-
avatar, Mukla."
this is my coconut head.
He's like,
Ah.
Mukla is like, "Mukla talks to you." Well, Tim is gone.
If that's your avatar, then this will be my avatar.
Oh boy.
Willie!
Ah.
Willie's
Still
angry.
looking at the-
Grease me up, woman.
I'll be right back.
All right. So Tim's gonna go get something cool to show us. I think, is that what he
Hey,
said?
so, yeah. So, what are you guys gonna think is gonna happen to the comics in general? Do you think it's gonna like a lot more people are gonna go digital now because they can't
No.
get to their shop as much?
No.
You don't think?
If people, here's the thing, it's gonna vary. It's gonna vary. If people start struggling with money, like Tim was mentioning earlier, there's people that are like very tight.
Right.
And struggling. If they end up, losing work and they're making less money, or they get laid off,
Right.
you're gonna have a lot of customers that are gonna have to go to the comic book stores and say, "Hey, I don't have the money to buy these comic books anymore. I have to cancel." You're going to get people that are going to be
Right.
canceling subscriptions. So that means you have
Right.
comic book stores that are going to be getting less customers. But
Right.
most successful comic book stores rely on online sales anyway. So that's
Right,
the thing.
right.
That they're still going to need to rely on online sales.
My
But
hope is the government, helps out the small businesses.
Yeah.
Which is part of
Right.
the plan for the stimulus package
Right.
they're working on. So I do feel, and when that happens and when it goes through, from when we started state by state closing businesses, shutting down, etc., setting hours. There are going to be some comic shops that won't be returning, unfortunately. That's the sad
Yeah.
thing about it, and I never like to see that.
yeah.
It's just
None of us do.
So there are some that are going to close. I don't think it's going to be as many as people feel it will be, or at least maybe that's because
Right.
I try to see positive when it comes to the comic book industry. And
Right,
I'm not
right,
saying
right.
I'm not saying they're seeing negative. I'm just saying I'm trying to keep myself in a positive mentality for that.
All right, the other spit on this. What do you think cons? Do you think they're gonna affect the cons at all? I mean, they're already
They already
affecting them, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying long term, like when
Not
they get
long
back,
run. Not long run. I could see maybe all cons not happening this year. Like I could see San Diego in June saying we're not going to happen. I could see maybe even New York,
Right.
even though that's out in November. Even New York might just be
Right.
like, look, we're just going to take a break from this year. But a lot of those big cons like New York and San Diego, they can afford to to take the year off.
Yeah.
Right.
Smaller cons, even if they're 3-day cons that get 25,000 people, they might not be
Right.
able to afford to take the year off.
Right.
So there might be some cons that don't come back. But
Right.
the cons that we're used to, like Emerald City, WonderCon,
MegaCon,
MegaCon, those big ones, they'll be back next year.
Right.
They're not going anywhere.
Well, hopefully there's not another pandemic.
So no,
Right.
the thing is, I think we're not going to come out great from this, but I think because they're working on the vaccine. I mean, the earliest is like 12, 18 months, but there's also a company that's hoping like November. That's one company. Based
Right.
because the different ways they're tackling this vaccine. The vaccines they're designing. So if there's a God up there in heaven, maybe we'll get lucky and by November, it all depends.
Right.
It's something like this hasn't happened since, on this scale, hasn't happened since, the Spanish flu. So,
Right.
but I think comic books always perseveres. We've been through the crash in the 90s. We've been through we went from the 80s, the black and white crash, to then the 90s, the crash after the boom. So comics in like
Right.
the span of 10 years went from, one crash to another. So
Right.
I think if we survive that, we can survive this. And there's a lot of things
Right.
that stores are helping publishers are helping comic book shops like Mad Cave Studios in Miami.
Right.
They're raising $100,000. They put $10,000 of their own money, in to help
Right.
comic shops. Lion Forge works with this organization that for libraries and bookstores and comic book stores, they're going to have relief funds available. So there's a lot of helping going on to keep this. Comic books, unlike any other print industry, is an industry that has a family base at its core. So comic books will
Right.
always survive. If you were talking about like, oh, what about the magazine industry? I'd be like, they done after this year. There ain't no magazines coming back. It's over.
Yeah, Playboy, right? Playboy is the perfect example. They announced that they stopped publication of physical copies.
But comics is a totally different game, man. So,
Excuse me, Mr. President. Excuse me. Why did you call it the Spanish flu? Is it because you're racist, Mr. President? Why you call it Spanish flu?
I'm Spanish, so I can't be racist.
It didn't come from Spain. It came from Kansas
I thought it was Kentucky.
or Kentucky. Sorry. That K. I knew it was a K with a state with a K.
We're talking
No.
about this.
No, it was Kansas. Was it Kansas or Kentucky?
Are you talking about the one in the 1920s?
I heard it was
Yeah,
Kentucky.
absolutely.
Yeah, they were just calling it the Spanish flu because it was the Spaniards that were reporting on it in Spain. Because other countries had lockdown because of wartime. You can't, talk about certain things in the news that could be detriment to the war. But the Spaniards, they didn't have that.
Yeah.
So that's why everyone
Yeah.
started calling it Spanish flu. See, Tim knows. But
There
I
you
was
go.
calling it the Spanish flu because I was referring to versus back then to now, and then I was talking about how the industry has been through the black and white crash in the 80s, black and white comic book crash when there was a boom of black and white comics and everyone thought black and white comics was the new thing. And then, the boom of the 90s and the crash. We've been through two. That's what people don't realize. We survived two disastrous things to the comic book industry.
Let me tell you something.
Yep.
We survived something worse than the Spanish flu and the coronavirus. You know what that is? Rob Liefeld.
You guys. I mean, come on, man. I like that dude.
I just
Come
don't,
on, I'm just
I
making
just
a
don't like when
joke.
he draw feet. Yeah. I
No,
just
we
don't
know.
like
I
when
like
he
to
draw
call him-
feet. But
I like to call him Rob Liefeld.
All
All right.
Yeah.
So
right, what are you gonna
I'll
what are
take
you gonna
your
show us?
Hot Wheels cars, and I'll raise you a black and white San Diego Comic Con from 2009. We've got the black and white
Ooh,
Doctor Who 2-pack.
love it.
This was a San Diego Comic Con exclusive from 2009. We've got a Cyberman and Patrick Troughton as the second Doctor. Yes, he is the second Doctor. I'm not paying attention to all that new Doctor Who nonsense. But this was a nice little find out in the wild, and you wouldn't believe what I paid for it. It would make you blush because
$20.
it
$1.
was very
$1.
little.
Oh, it's very little.
$1.
Very little. Yeah.
$5.
Yeah.
$1.
Single digits, guys. Single digit.
$5.
$1.
$5.
Say $5.
$5. Oh, look at that.
$5 make you holla.
$5 make you holla.
That was a $30 convention special. Some lady was selling it, and she didn't even know what she had. I love finding things like that. Then, of course, if any of you guys like to go to Five and Below, I purchased this at Five and Below. This is what we call a tail ender. Star Wars came out with a doll figures that got a mixed response because they were trying to empower young girls to get into Star Wars. But this was a $5 purchase at Everybody Loves Five and Below, and it's a nice little 2-pack.
Oh,
Princess Leia and an actual.
I do not know. I do not know this Five and Below. Now I shall check them out.
Yes, check out Five and Below. I was getting black label action figures, the big 6-inch Star Wars ones for $5 each. I got Lando Calrissian. I got the guy from Rogue One, the general with the white outfit. All the ones that didn't sell, basically.
So
I got them all for $5.
Are they basically like an Ollie's? They get all this stuff that stored.
They're exactly like an Ollie's. Yes.
Yes, I like that.
Except they're hipper because they have like a lot of like oomcha music playing. They've got very young, attractive girls who kind of bounce around and say, "Hey, welcome to Five and Below. Let me know if I can help you find something." And they've got cool hip little things, and it's like a hipper dollar store. Really, that's what it is. But that's a really cool piece because it's got some nice little images of her, and as well, Carrie Fisher passing away. I thought some of these images on the back were just fantastic in doll form, reenacting some of these scenes from A New Hope. I just thought that was really cool. And for awesome. $5, you can't say no to that. This I paid full price for because it's just brand new, and everybody says I'm not sensitive, but I went ahead and bought this one instead of the second one. I could have gotten the second one, but granted, I saw the second one at the second store, so I kind of got this one first because it's kind of like buy when you find it, But I thought it was just really cute. But I got the Squirrel Girl.
Oh man, that looks great!
Yeah.
Wow, this looks really good.
Yeah,
it's a repaint. It's a repaint of the Deadpool scooter that came out not too long ago.
Yeah,
Deadpool and Deadpool the squirrel and all that other stuff. And this one's got a really, really pretty. I got to admit, the facial sculpt on her is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. There we go.
There you go.
But she looks really nice. She doesn't have her chubby cheek. She doesn't have her chubby thighs. She's actually in really nice shape. It's nice and clean. I love the pink and the turquoise, which is really popular right now with Snowflake and. I'm not going to let that go. But it's a popular color scheme. The pink and the turquoise. It's known to sell, so they're adding that color scheme to a lot.
A lot of people don't like Squirrel Girl, but here's the thing. I'm a big Steve Ditko fan, but even I have to admit, Steve Ditko's design of Squirrel Girl, no. I never liked Ditko's Squirrel Girl look. I was just like, ugh, that's scary.
Now, these are available only at Walmart. It reminds me of the old Trendmaster toys that came out.
Oh, I think I know what you're pulling out. We saw it at a friend's store.
Yeah, and this is only $20 at Walmart. It's $19.99.
It looks great.
For the size, it's amazing.
Dude.
We've got a Forbidden Planet Robbie the Robot, and he's also...
Yeah.
Airborne, gentlemen.
Nice.
I find it hilarious that they put that out because I'm just like, one, no kid is gonna may walk into Walmart and even care for that. Me, I do. I love the old funky Robbie the Robot, the Lost in Space robot design. I love all that 50s robot designs, how they designed them. Big and chunky, and they moved around, or they moved around they either moved up and down and back and forth, or they had wheels, I just love it.
Yeah,
I hated Robot's design in the Lost in Space movie. Never liked it.
I love that they have the poster on it with the girl in his hands. That is a very sensuous image to put on a toy for a child.
Very pulpy.
So I find that really interesting. Walmarts are getting 2 or 3 of these each, and then you won't see them because at that price point, I can't imagine them doing this for very long. It's a beautifully packaged toy, and I suggest you go out and grab one before they are gone. And of course, last but not least, this is for Randall. I found this at the same place that I found the Doctor Who toy. Somebody was into buying toys off the internet or going to conventions, because this is a convention exclusive too. It's a little bit more beat up, but it's hard to find. We've got the Batgirl. Of course, this is from Batman 66. This is, of course, the Yvonne Craig Batgirl action figure. This came in a mailer, and it was exclusive at San Diego Comic-Con as well. So the person where she acquired these toys, ex-husband or, maybe son-in-law or something like that, I just stumbled upon these, and I thought they were really, really awesome. So
Yvonne
Batgirl.
Craig.
Yeah. May she
Yeah.
rest in peace, Yvonne Craig.
Yeah, I remember Tim's story about it. I remember Tim's story about something about that, but I'm not going to say it on.
Is
I think I know what
about
you're
our
talking
good
about.
cow, Will?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, the Will story.
Yeah.
Dude, see, every time, like Yvonne Craig, and then what's her name played Emma Peel, all those like 60s, 70s, mostly like a lot of the 60s ones. Those were like the Baba Boom ladies, you know what I mean? Like they just had this very crazy appeal in the type of characters that they played, and they made those ratings go, everyone. Let's face it. When everyone talks about the Avengers, the 1960s Avengers, everyone always talks about the Emma Peel era, not about the era with the other ladies.
Yeah, they had Catwoman on as a villain, and the ratings did go up when oh gosh, what's her name? Julie Newmar, when she appeared in her cat suit as the second Catwoman on Batman. Was it Lee Merriweather? She was the one from the movie version, and then of course Eartha Kitt came along in the late second season to the last third season. Of course, they did a lot of trade-ups on the third season. Frank Gorshin was no longer the Riddler. We had Sean Astin, and yep, that's Sean Astin. That's his dad. If you guys know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. What's his name?
Wait. So Sean Astin was the Riddler after Gorshin was gone?
Yeah.
I had to check that out.
Yeah, he was right after he did the Munsters. Not the Munsters. Addams Family. Yeah, so it was he was a different kind of Riddler, but he was really good at it. And they did a trade up with Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze went through 3 incarnations. 3 different actors played Mr. Freeze, and I think the last one was what's his name from The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. Oh, I can't remember his name now. But he played the villain in that show. Do you remember The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, Randall?
I still haven't seen it.
Ah, gotcha.
Really?
And I'm trying to remember the name. What's going on here? I'm getting. Sorry, everybody wants to contact me while I'm trying to do a show. My apologies. So yeah, that was a nice little find in one day. I took one day off. I took advantage of not having a lot of traffic on the streets. And this is something that I want to shout out to you guys. And I want to let you guys know this because it's going to be opening up this weekend. Not this weekend, not as the one that we just had, but this weekend coming up. Everybody's familiar with Wonder Water here in Tampa, correct?
Yeah.
US 19.
US 19, Perry. Perry out there with Wonder Water. He is doing something phenomenal. He is taking advantage of the economy right now. Perry has opened up a second store.
Ooh.
Yes.
Now, during this? Really?
Yes. It's literally in the same plaza as Wonder Water. It's all the way down at the end. A unit became available, and he came up with a very fantastic idea. Now, get this. And, of course, all of you guys are more than welcome to contact Wonder Water and obtain your own place in line when it comes to what he has planned. So he's taken all of his back issues that were in the main store and moved them all the way down to the end. He also took a lot of his back issues out of storage and out of his personal spaces from home and his mom, his residences, and he's put them all in this one building. Now,
Oh,
That's
boy.
on one side of the building. And he's got, let me tell you, he's got over like 200 boxes of comics, or between 150 and 200 boxes of comics. Some of the stuff you've never been through. So there's going to be a lot of gold in there. And they're all going to be like 80% off, he said. He's only going to be opening the store on Saturday and Sunday. Yes, get your buddies together, Jeff, because they're going to be wanting to visit this. Now on this side of the store, he's actually leasing 5 tables and 5 set of shelves. So he's been hearing a lot of his friends who work at flea markets and how this coronavirus is affecting their business. And he wanted to offer them a safe space to sell their wares. So, and don't quote me on this price, but I believe he's going to open it up with $25 either a day or for the weekend to rent this table and this shelf. So you'll get a 6-foot table and a 4 shelf unit that you can put your toys or comics, whatever, and you can stay there for the day or the weekend. And you can sell your own personal wares. You'll be responsible for your own checkout. You'll be responsible. So you have to have Square or something of that nature on your phone. And this will help him, of course, defer the costs of the rent of the unit. Now, this is the cool part. He doesn't want to have to staff the store to sell his own wares. So the one table, that's the luxury table, it's got 2 6-foot tables and 2 shelving units right by the door, is going to be the manager for the weekend or for the day. That person gets free table, free shelves. The only catch is that you've got to do all of Perry's transactions for him while selling his comics.
Nice.
So you get to sell your own stuff and sell his stuff, and you don't have to pay for your table, which means everything you sell is profit. I thought this was an ingenious idea. Once again, Perry over there at Wonder Water is showing us how to change your business to survive in these tough times. He's already got tables rented out. Yeah, he's already got tables rented out. Yeah, that's the reason why he's been open for so long. This isn't something new, believe it or not. I believe that there used to be another comic book store that did this. They only had like 1 or 2 tables that were available. I want to say it was a comic store that's not even with us anymore. But Pete over at Comics and Stuff had mentioned, I can't remember who it was, but I want to say they were probably in maybe St. Pete or something like that. But this is an old school an idea, but it seems very fresh and very new, especially since there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of stuff in their collection that they like to liquidate. So if you've ever wanted to open your own store, or if you've ever wanted to have that experience of selling at a convention, and here's the cool thing, it's right next to his store. So every customer that knows about his store is going to go. Everybody that I'm advertising to is going to go. Everybody who he's talking about is going to go. All these flea market vendors, they're going to tell their customer base. So you're going to get traffic, you're going to get sales, and I think it's a genius idea. And feel free to reach out to Wonder Water, Perry at Wonder Water, and reserve your space for the next few weekends coming up, because I think it's a great idea. I'm actually going to do that exact thing and try it on for size. So just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. And actually, it's smart, isn't it? It's a very smart thing.
Smart.
Yeah.
And this advertisement has been brought to you by RoboCop 2, the automated RoboCop service that will be necessary during this traumatic time that we're going through. We do need automated police officers to patrol the streets so we don't spread coronavirus everywhere you go. I'd buy that for $1. I already got the first one, which is the first appearance of RoboCop in pictures or in comic books, and this here is RoboCop 2. There's 2 versions of this. There's the square-bound comic book sized version, and this is the magazine version, which has a beautiful Chiodo cover. This one's going to get autographed eventually. I can see a nice Peter Weller autograph on this book. Maybe even get graded because it is in beautiful, beautiful shape. So yay! Another goodie for y'all to see.
Mm-hmm.
Got more
They
too.
always like looking at the collection. Yep, they
Yeah.
always like looking at the collection.
Right on.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool announcement to make, and a great way to show how people can be innovative during tough times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Perry's great, man. It's a really smart idea.
Yep.
The timing of it, I'm 50-50 on it, but I mean, like, still, it's a great way to help out people who, like, if the flea markets are shut down, this benefits them. This benefits them.
Yep. And he's keeping the rent low so they can afford it and maybe make some money off of their day. It's not like it's a flea market if it's an open outdoor flea market, usually it's about $35 to back your car in and dump your junk on the ground. And it could go up as high as $150 for a small stall at an enclosed flea market.
Yeah.
You know.
And those
So,
flea markets aren't going to be here long, man.
Didn't
because,
that flea market didn't Big Top get, when we talking about Big Top getting sold?
No, actually, we haven't talked about that yet. Big Top sold. Freaking Magic Mall shut down. Like
The old Magic Mall bought out too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they still haven't shut down yet. But they're about to, man. All of them are about to. It looks like all of them are about to get shut down.
What is up with
Like,
that?
there's gonna be
Because when I was a kid, we used to go to flea markets all the time. That was the primo spot to get, good stuff at a good price. And also, like, when we were kids, get some sweet comics and trading cards.
How funny would it be, like, if a big company, like, wealthy person is like, let me buy out all these flea markets, and then I'm going to open up like one mega flea market, and I will be the flea market champion or commander of the whole area.
There's no need for that.
Right.
Why do you think there was so many Asian flea markets, man? Why do you think so many Koreans open flea markets?
Right.
The hardest thing to deal with is the size of your flea market and the size of your parking lot. You need to have parking for your flea market, and property is the main thing. And being able to pay property taxes on that means that you have to charge a certain rate to pay for to make it a business, to make money and to pay the bills on the property tax.
Absolutely.
And that's
the power and
where
all the other stuff.
Yep. So it's a delicate balance these days to run that kind of business, and that's probably why flea markets are going the way of the dodo bird. People are just shopping on Amazon.
Yep.
I mean, you can get things cheap on Amazon now, and they're getting it directly from the distributors that the flea markets are getting them from.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, except too much has become a collectible market for a lot of stuff that I don't think should be collectibles.
Collectible, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, when I remember, back in the day, you could like, it's funny because I was like 91, 92. I remember going to this comic book shop, and they had some, at that point they would have been like maybe 5-7-year-old Nintendo games, and they were selling them for like, me 11 years old. I'm just like, ooh. That's a lot of money for that game. And I was like, to me, that's like the beginning where I was like 20-something years ago that like that's what's going to become a trend. Now like something goes out of print, immediately, like I was trying to find this trade paperback, not trade paperback, this hardcover of this Image graphic novel that came out 4 years ago called The Prince of Cats. So it's out of print, and I don't want the softcover version. The softcover version is available. I was like, I want the hardcover version. So everyone on eBay is selling it for like 30, 40, 50, $60, right? The thing is like $24.95 cover price. And so I checked eBay back when the stuff that sold, and I was like, the last time this sold, it sold for like $11 back in February. I was like, I'm not paying. And then before that, it had been months since something sold. Amazon, people are selling it for like $60, $100. And I'm like, I'm not paying that. This is what's happening now. Graphic novel comes out, $100, hardcover goes softcover, and everybody wants to sell the hardcover for a premium price on a freaking graphic novel. It's becoming ridiculous. Luckily, I have a friend who used to do reviews, and he got a copy sent from Image, to review, and he's like, "It's still sealed. I'll send that to you. Just pay the shipping price." And I was like, "Okay," and I gave him my address, and once he ships it out, I'm going to pay him for the shipping. But I don't know. Too much stuff becomes immediately collectible as soon as way faster than things used to be, and it kind of ticks me off. It's like it's a little annoying.
Yeah. Legends figures.
Yeah.
They go for more on eBay the day they're on market.
Yeah, I mean that stuff is just it's like I think eBay, Amazon, they really created this whole. Everybody feels they can make money selling stuff. It's just like how we talk about everybody feels they can get into film. Everybody feels they can get into comic books. You got all these glut of people. Causes more harm than good. I'm just like, man, for me, I just want to have the thing to read it or watch it. You know what I mean? I don't want to pay an arm and a leg to watch something or to read it.
Yeah.
It's just a little ridiculous. But it's just the way of the world. But yeah, man, flea markets. It's kind of sad. So did the one that got bought here in Florida was the Big Top one, Tampa? Was the one that's inside?
Big Top. Yeah, Big Top got bought because of apartments. They're gonna build apartments on top of that property, so that's why Big Top sold that. And then
so that's it.
Wagon
Done.
Wheel. They're done. The Wagon Wheel's still here. Magic Mall's gone. The smaller one by me over here, Magic Mall's gone. Like a lot of them are gone, man. Like none of them are.
How about the Oldsmar flea market?
Oldsmar it's getting there. It looks like it. Well, last time I went over there, it looks like it's getting there.
I see all these apartments getting built, like in Brandon, the Brandon Mall, Brandon, Florida. Behind it, there used to be this space where they would do like car shows, they would do like fireworks, 4th of July, and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And now that space is being turned into apartments. And I'm like, there is no way you're gonna be able to sell all these apartments. Like you're gonna end up like everywhere in Tampa, they're creating apartments left and right. I'm like, you're gonna hit saturation, and you're gonna just be left with a glut of apartments that nobody's living in.
Right.
It's like, what are you trying to go for California? You trying to go for the California award here, where you just got like a glut of apartments that people can't move into? I'm like, there's just too many, and then they're putting out stuff like the flea market, like that's community institutions. You know what I mean? Yeah. To put apartments that they're gonna sell for prices that people can't afford. I mean, it's like, what the heck?
You talking about New York?
No, I'm talking about
we're talking about here. About here, how everything's getting built upwards.
Apartments left and right.
Yeah, nothing's getting built this way. Everything's getting built up that way.
For people that want to come here because the other places are expensive. Look, we ain't got room for all of you people. None of you wanted to live here back in the day, so please don't come live here now. Go away. You're only coming here because you're looking around. They're looking around and they're like, well, I don't want to go to Arkansas. It doesn't have the type of culture I want. So I can go to Florida. It's got that and the prices. It's like, sorry, we don't want you here. We don't want to become.
More people come, man.
Financially, as soon as I'm financially able to, I'm going to buy a house at Metropolis, Illinois.
I've seen I lived in Austin, Texas, and we were there right before Austin, Texas blew up. It was like on the precipice where Austin, Texas went from being Austin, Texas to want to be San Francisco. And it's just annoying when you look. I haven't been there since I moved in 2014. So I lived there 4 years, 2 years, left for 6 months, and then 2 years again. And, you see the Austin, Texas, which was like a place for like musicians and artists and all this stuff, to the place that's like really badly wanting to be San Francisco. And I'm just like, why? Like, what? Other than get a bunch of hipsters that would pay top money and then like don't really add any flavor to the area,
Yeah.
So it's just like whatever. It's just annoying. Don't come to these areas, and if you're not going to add anything special to it.
And drive up rent. Drive up property taxes. We don't need any more people.
I'm all for people, making their monies, but it's like, come on, man. There's a flavor that every area has, a flavor that Tampa has, a flavor that St. Pete has, a flavor that Clearwater has, Cocoa Beach, Miami.
There's a flavor that my neighbor had. Now all I have is left is his shrunken head.
It's like Beetlejuice at the end pisses off the voodoo doctor. He shrinks his head. Yeah. I love it because there's the voodoo doctor and then the big game hunter who's next to him who got his head shrunk. Yeah.
This is actually made from a coconut.
That's pretty awesome.
Nice.
So it's a real coconut.
Coconut with delicious coconut water.
I am like 4 episodes away. Excuse me. I'm 4 episodes away from finally finishing X-Men Evolution. I'm very excited.
Nice. Those last 4 episodes are some fantastic episodes, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good series. I liked X-Men Evolution.
Are they dealing with Apocalypse right now? That's what they're dealing with in the.
Yeah, I mean the end of the 3rd season is when like Apocalypse like shows up and rises, and then he disappears, and then the whole last season, it's like Apocalypse is sort of like setting everything up in the background, and building up to like the big fight at the end.
Do you know what you need, Randall? You need to purchase my X-Men Evolution action figures from Toy Biz.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
You have
Randall wants them. He as soon as you said that, he was like,
I have Magneto, I have Storm, I have Blob because they made him into a big foam ball. I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay.
I have.
Now, I don't know if you saw it, Tim, but Randall had this big smile on his face when you said X-Men Evolution figures. So he was like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what's disappointing was I had watched all of Gargoyles, and so I started to look up to see like what Gargoyle figures that they had. And like they didn't even have like some of the characters that were like awesome on the show, like even made.
Because Disney didn't really give strong support to that show.
Yeah.
Disney's stuff for them was the Disney Afternoon, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Quack Pack, all those things. Goof Troop.
You did have 6 different versions of Goliath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With different armor, different snap-on armors, and
there's like
Snow Goliath and Fire Goliath.
There was probably like 2 or 3 of Xanatos, right?
Oh man, Randall!
There was no electric Goliath like Randall would have liked, like electric blue Superman.
Randall, you need these. These X-Men Evolution figures look fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They look like the cartoon.
Nice.
Yep. They have the little squash nose and everything.
Yeah.
I've got Wolverine too, but the one that I got Wolverine and Sabretooth. But the Wolverine one that I got is a really cool one because it was a tail ender. It's the one where he's on his motorcycle. But when it was sold originally, it was originally sold in the motorcycle. But then I guess at the very end, they had some extra figures left over. So they threw a leather jacket on him and put him in an individual pack. And he was like one of the last ones to be sold. And I nabbed that one. That one's kind of cool.
He's got a Gambit figure?
A Gambit figure? No Gambit that I remember.
Okay.
They did have
figures from like the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, they had Spike. Was it Spike?
Spike was in the first season.
They had Spike.
Yeah.
Storm was a later season. Magneto was a later addition. They had Toad. Toad was from the original season.
Yeah. Oh, Avalanche would be cool to have.
They didn't make an Avalanche. That's what I mean. They didn't make the villains. They made all the heroes, but very little of the villain.
That's a shame because you know what? That's probably my favorite thing about the X-Men Evolution was how they wrote Avalanche. Like the whole like he had the thing for Kitty Pryde, and he was the bad boy, he was the bad guy, but like deep down, like he didn't really, was completely bad. He was just like he had his moments where he would save people, and he'd be like, like he was on the cusp. He was literally
Yeah.
stuck in between. They even did an episode where he actually joined the X-Men for one episode. So and then like the whole the back and forth between him and Cyclops, like I thought that was great.
He's like, I'm a bad boy with a heart of gold.
Right, like that was like compared to how they wrote Avalanche in the '90s X-Men cartoon series, like they gave Avalanche like depth. They made they really worked on his character development for that series. So, but of course, like X-23. It would have been cool if they made an X-23 action figure.
He was in 2 episodes, if I remember correctly. She was in a season 2 episode, and then I think one of the last episodes they even did, the Return of the Clone.
It's so weird that they didn't make a figure, considering she was created in the show.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
like, it's just
Her
like,
first appearance was actually in the show. Yeah.
yeah. I remember when I was at CBCS and we were putting in information for X-23. We had to there was like certain wording we had to put, like first appearance in comics. Because
Right.
the character appeared somewhere else first. We had to be specific when we were putting in the notes for the comics. So when I told them, like, I was explaining to the other graders, like, no, X-23 appeared on the show first, and then appeared in the comics. And so some of them were like looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" And one of them actually looked it up, and he's like, "Oh no, Randall was right. Good catch."
Yeah.
And they put it into the first appearance in comics.
Yeah, those were good episodes. I remember those.
Yeah. Craig Kyle and Kyle Yost, man, like those guys are still awesome.
Yeah.
I love the show they did after that, Wolverine and the X-Men, and then it ended on the Age of Apocalypse cliffhanger, and then we never got the goddamn Age of Apocalypse.
And I heard rumors that they already had like some of the second season like made.
Yeah, they had designs done, and they had some animation stuff, and because they showed clips at one, I think it was San Diego. I don't think they had a lot of animation work done, but they had a lot of design work done, and character turnarounds, things like that. But then it got canceled, and that blew because that ending where it was like Age of Apocalypse, I was like, holy crap!
Can you imagine if the fan base could come back together like for like Young Justice, but the fan base came back together and was like, do another season of Wolverine and the X-Men.
Well,
and, like,
they couldn't. If
and
they
then
couldn't,
like, hey, guess what? We're gonna do it.
I don't think Disney cares. Like when they were like, hey, Greg Weisman was like, hey guys, if you love Gargoyles so much, get it trending, and they got it trending on Twitter. Disney didn't say jack shit.
No.
Disney does not care. You can get it trending where it's so popular that news stations are talking about it, and Disney will be like, whatever. It's not within our purview or what we feel would work.
I almost wish. Excuse me. I almost wish. There was like a third-party toy company that would basically be like, "Listen, we're gonna purchase the rights, and then we're just gonna make really awesome action figures from these series." Like, can you imagine, like, I don't want to say McFarlane style because I don't want to see a McFarlane style Gargoyles, but I do want to see some. I want to see some kind of new version of Gargoyles.
You'd have to be a big third-party company because Disney, their number one thing is merchandising. Yeah, that's their purview. That's all they care about. It's what matters to them.
But they want to merchandise stuff that's, now. Like, Gargoyles, it's like, oh, that was how many years ago? And you guys want to make new figures on Gargoyles? Who cares about that? Make figures on Frozen. Make figures on Gargoyles.
Hey, when those figures and dolls make when those figures and dolls make $1 billion or more, you can't. I remember when I worked at Target.
Go ahead.
What are you gonna say?
No, I said, how many Darth Vader figures can you possibly own?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a Star Wars fan that has never won.
The same question applies to how many Optimus Prime figures can you own?
All right.
I think the interesting thing is collector, I think that comes down to certain collectors, because adult collectors, because they're the ones who created this, avenue where
Market.
these companies can be like, hey, here's the 15th Optimus Prime, pretty much the same as the other previous 4 Optimus Prime, minus some differences.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, ooh.
One, he has a mouth and he's smiling.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. If you ask me,
Let's make an action figure 30 years later.
yeah,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
if
I
you-
will say this. Probably the most exciting action figures right now for me are obviously the McFarlane DC figures, but also those 6-inch GI Joe figures. Man, like those, I'm so excited for.
G.I. Joe's what's more exciting for me than McFarlane ones. The only thing I want from McFarlane is the Batman the Animated Series variant where Batman is in the blue and gray suit. That's the only figure I want because it's the best Batman suit. Blue and gray forever.
Yeah, but that's gonna be the last DC figures he's gonna make. You never know. He's gonna be making a crap ton of those figures because he has the contract now.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see how these GI Joe figures. Some of them look fantastic online. I've seen pictures of them. They look amazing. Because if they look just as good as they do in the box, I am going to be unemployed. I'm going to be broke. That's my coronavirus.
I already have Snake Eyes pre-ordered straight from the site.
Yeah.
And then on Amazon, I pre-ordered Roadblock. For some reason, they don't have Scarlet up for pre-order on
See,
Amazon.
now, I'm not ordering any more toys from Amazon because every time I do, they're sending them then bubble mailers now instead of boxes. So the bubble mailers are these generic Amazon bubble makers that you can tell that they just push the product through and it seals. So it seals on one side, then the next product goes in and it seals, and the next product goes in and it seals. There's no protection. I just returned 2 action figures. I returned Playmobil Ghostbusters 4-pack that had all 4 of the Ghostbusters in Playmobil size with their backpacks and their wands. And they were it all came crushed. I was just going to open up and put it on my computer, but I was like, nah, I'll find them somewhere else because I know that they have them at Target over in the Playmobil section. And then I ordered, what was it? A Doctor Who DVD, a Tom Baker Blu-ray collection. And I didn't even bother opening it because all I did was shake it and it was in pieces.
Luckily, maybe I won't have that issue because I also ordered, when I ordered the Roadblock, I also ordered at the same time, pre-ordered at the same time, the Power Rangers Ranger Slayer figure. So they'll pack them together. So they'll probably have to put them both in a box. So maybe I'll get lucky.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Because if they come in, because Hasbro does, the Roadblock and the Power Ranger Slayer are going to have the same type of box size, because they're both 6-inch figures. So if they put them in a mailer and send it to me, I'll be so pissed. I'll be on that phone so quick.
Let me know. And actually, I went to go return something today, and they wouldn't let me return it because of the coronavirus. I don't know if you knew this or not, but Amazon, instead of mailing it back, you can just drop it off at a Whole Foods, and they do all the mailing for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
They also have those Amazon lockers around town now.
Yeah, Amazon lockers. Yeah.
So if you don't want to, if you live like in an apartment or, like you can't get certain packages a certain size, you don't trust the front office, or maybe you live in a house, but your neighbors are thieves. At that point, you should just get a camera. Like, cameras are so cheap now, surveillance cameras. I mean, like, you just get one and then, then you know what punk is trying to steal your goods from Amazon.
I was hearing stories of like Amazon was offering a service for people who like buy Amazon, like they get packages like every week, right? So these people are constantly going to the house dropping off packages. Amazon was offering a service where like if you leave a copy of the key, that the Amazon deliverers, they can open up your house. You can open up the door, take the package, drop it inside your house, close the door, lock the door.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
I'd be like, sure, you can. I'd be like, if I had my own place, I'd be like, sure, you can do that. Now, whether my pit bull likes that you come in the house and you're not me, that's another question.
Like, can you imagine like an Amazon worker comes in, drops off the package and is like, you know what? I'm gonna give myself a tour and just start like walking through the house and be like, "Ooh, look at all these cool like figures! Look at all this cool stuff," you know. And then they go into your refrigerator, they make themselves a sandwich, leave you
that's
like a
why-
thank you letter, like thanks.
I feel that's why one, I would never do that. I think people are getting a little too carried away with like becoming too trusting with corporations.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a little craziness that I wouldn't do. But even then, if you're stupid enough to do that, then
Yeah.
have cameras in your house. You know, just have a
Oh,
camera.
it's
You know?
amazing how affordable cameras are now, and then you have like the phones and the apps, so people can like literally just be at work or be wherever, and they can just access the cameras and they can see who's inside the house.
And just get a big ass dog, and you like, you know, train that dog. If that's not me, you attack.
Did you know that your phone company can actually access your camera and see where you are at any time in the
Yeah.
they want?
Yeah,
Sure.
they
Yeah.
can also do on computers, internet companies, on
Mhm.
you know, your computer.
You're watching this right now.
It's look, man.
Yeah.
This I've already said multiple times on Facebook. I said we are living in a cyberpunk future and a shitty cyberpunk future, because this is nothing like I read in Neuromancer or any of the William Gibson novels. I don't have a cool internet I can jack into through my mind. I don't have cool motorcycles or robot arms. I don't have. This is the cyberpunk future without any of the cool stuff we were supposed to get with it. You know. So.
This is the Hallmark version.
Dude, it's the
But
bad.
yeah, we're now just getting 5G. We're now just getting 5G over here. When Hong Kong and all them had 5G way before us.
Yeah, but you know
So-
what?
And
It-
you, yeah,
It was probably,
you,
it was probably like a
Yeah.
conspiracy video, but some dude put up
I
like,
think Tim wants to talk.
yeah.
Or he's doing his best. What's his name?
Both of them.
Max Headroom.
Yeah. No, like I remember there was like a conspiracy like video about like this guy like putting up like the 5G towers and stuff like that, and like the radiation and
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going around about 5G. I don't know about radiation, but there is a lot of stuff that's going around with a lot of security issues in dealing with the 5G. A lot of where we might be giving off a little. We might be giving we might be letting go of a certain amount of control because of the 5G. You know, that's a lot of stuff I've been reading here and there. I haven't been really reading it in depth, but I can see what the issue is. I think it's a little weird because it's just like 5G and you'll have total control. You'll be able to do this with your refrigerator and that with your microwave and everything controlled by your phone and all this, and we'll all be on the same speed. It's like, who cares? I can just. Why do I need so much stuff for my fridge? Why do I need so much stuff for my microwave? Stuff is getting overly complicated, and people are just accepting it. And it's like, you don't need all this.
Right.
So the
Nope.
KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. There's a reason it exists. You know,
yeah.
like not
Mhm.
everything needs to have amazing number function. I mean, like TVs nowadays. Oh, do you have the 4K HDR this bit depth rate? Blah blah blah. It's like, look, most of you motherfuckers can't even see what's on these differences in the TVs. You know.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's almost as if the government wants you to stay in your house and lock yourself up and stay connected, so we know where you are at all times.
It's a Wall-E world. I've
Sounds familiar.
always said I do not trust the government. I do not. I believe in the ideals, not in the organization.
Wait a minute. Let's get really into the conspiracy theory here now, right? Like,
Goddamn,
Maybe-
feel free to
maybe-
look for people. I will.
maybe
Get out.
you're right, Tim. Maybe the government's like, we want you in your house, and like, we don't want you to learn how to do stuff outside your house. We're gonna go ahead and shut down the Boy Scouts of America.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to train these kids to learn how to do all these things outdoors. You don't need to be outdoors, you know? And if you want to be outdoors, you live in a camper, you know? And buy these campers and go live in these like little camping areas.
There is if you watch any, you know, and I always come back to it, and it's true. If you go watch a lot of these old cyberpunk TV shows, Max Headroom, you go watch read a lot of those old novels. There's a lot of stuff that's happening now that they talked about, and people are like, that's just awesome science fiction. It'll never happen, and it's happening. You know, the idea of giving up control for giving up control for an easier life. You know what I mean? For a smoother run, easier, more satisfying, comforting. Comfort, ease of comfort. There we go. That's what I'm trying to get to. You give up a little control for a better ease of comfort.
I'll tell you why I'm not afraid of 5G. The reason why I'm not afraid of 5G is because Jim Lee is going to take care of all of us.
Shut up. Geez.
And that's what they call a segue.
Hey, what if the danger, right? What if somebody was subtly
DC Comics has been behind 5G the whole time.
what if the danger has been like subtly we've been getting warnings, right? Do you remember that great movie Mars Attacks?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And you remember when those aliens, they were like,
ack.
maybe instead of ack, you were trying to say at, and you know what spells at? AT&T.
Oh, God.
AT&T, 5G, at.
And you know what you download into your phones? App.
Dude, I can't even stand. Like, I swear, I might get once I get back to having my own place again. I might get rid of this whole smartphone. I might just have a flip phone, just so I can make calls and texts. Because this thing's getting a little like. I try to, as much as I can, not use this. And if I need to, go on the computer, and that's about it. I mean, getting a little too connected, using the smartphone a little too much.
What we need to do is we need to train ourselves and become like Captain Power and the soldiers of the future.
That was a bad feature after, I think World War III, I think it was. I don't remember. I haven't seen that show in forever.
I need to get it on. I think it's on DVD. Well, not DVD. Yeah.
It's on DVD. They released a box set a while back. Now, whether it's in print or not, it might be out of print, so it's probably going to cost like $70 now.
Probably.
I wonder if it would work on a high definition television.
Oh, yeah.
I think you have to. No,
be like in a box.
I don't think it does. Well, you're talking about the thing with the I don't think that does work in the high definition television. Because I remember with a lot of the old games, they said it wouldn't work on the high def TV, like the gun stuff and all that on the old video.
I'm talking about that one. Yeah.
The gun that you can shoot stuff.
Yeah, and they had the toys.
Man, that thing was rigged anyway. Because I used to play that video without the gun, and those things would still blow up. You thought you were in control. No, that shit was rigged.
It was just a flash of light. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they made you believe like, oh look, I'm interacting. No, I literally put in the VHS tape without the gun. I sat there, I watched it, and all the things were like exploding. Like,
you can. It's basically out of print, Randall. But people are selling it through Amazon for like $34.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but you could have got it for $20 previously.
Yeah. The guy who created that also created another show called Skeleton Warriors. That was a 2D animated show.
Wasn't Straczynski? Straczynski worked on that show.
Yeah, but he didn't create Skeleton Warriors, but he worked on it.
Yeah.
Straczynski also worked on Captain Power.
Yeah, he worked on Captain Power, and then he obviously Babylon 5.
Yeah, Skeleton Warriors. I had this on DVD, and I sold it. Do you know how much it is to get now?
$80?
It's like $200. $200.
Well, you should have sold it. Not until now.
It's like
you should have sold it later.
It's
you should have held on to it.
This is what
is it the whole
off.
season?
Yeah.
Or is it just the first 3 episodes?
No, the whole series. And I think there's only 1 season, but it was the collector's edition, complete series. I had it, and then I sold it later, and now it's like an arm and a leg to get, and that's what pisses me off. Going back to what I said earlier, I was like, if I just want to watch it again, it's like, sorry, you have to pay us some ridiculous, obscene price because it's out of print. It's like, F you. I just want to watch the show.
This is why I don't sell any of my DVDs or Blu-rays. I hold on to them like gold.
Yeah, but this is also why you'll die in the apocalypse and I won't, because things don't matter to me, and I can just be like, all right, gotta go. You'll be stuck in your house. No, what am I gonna take? I can't leave it. Randall, the soldiers are coming. Hurry up.
Yeah.
There's no reason to go shopping for toilet paper when you have this many Marvel comics.
That's messed up.
I'm really waiting for somebody to like wipe their ass legitimately with a comic book, and then like
It's so
either do a video of it or do
No,
like,
I don't want to see that video. What's wrong with you?
it's so crazy though, man. It's like just for the freaking paper for your butt.
dude. There was this funny video of this guy. You see him like making out with this girl, and like they're on bed. They look like they're about to like get it going, and the girl grabs his hand and starts like basically sucking on his finger, and then the video cuts to his face, and his face has that look like he's thinking like, "Where's my finger been?" And it cuts to a video like he's like walking through the New York, or he's walking through the subway. He's grabbing the handlebars, and then it cuts back to her sucking more on the finger, and then it goes back to his face, and then his face starts to get more like grossed out, and like you see him walking by, and some bum out of nowhere is like, "Hey, I'll give you a kiss for $1," and the guy's like, "No," and the guy tries to kiss him, and he puts his hand in front of the guy's face, and the guy starts biting on his finger, and he's like, "Ah!" And then the final video is him. He's on the toilet. He's taking a shit, and he goes and he wipes, and then he shows his hand, and like the finger went through the toilet paper, and you see like the shit on his finger. So he's just like, ah, and then all of a sudden you see like all this stuff like hitting the girl's face, and you hear like the almost like a jerking sound, and it's basically hand sanitizer, and you see him just like smacking the hand sanitizer on her face.
That's a
Dude.
a rare
What-
thing now.
Was
That's-
this a short film sponsored by Troma Entertainment?
No, this is like
No.
one of the random, like Facebook videos I came across, and I just started laughing. I was like, "Oh, this is funny."
No, it's a short film brought to you by Beta Products, who specialize in soy milk.
I was like, those type of videos are so, those type of things are like, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of gross humor of a certain quality. Like I'm like, what? Oh yeah, you made a shit joke. Okay, and you showed me fake shit on your finger. You're so brilliant.
Yeah.
That stuff just annoys me.
And it's actually almost like a thinker. It makes you think. Like
I don't think it does.
that girl, before she starts like really getting into it, she should have been like, "Hey, did you wash your hands?" You know. If the guy's like, "No, I didn't wash
Yeah,
my
but-
hands," go wash your hands.
Like I said, hand sanitizer now and toilet paper is hard to come by now in
Dude,
2020.
the toilet paper thing pisses me off because like, so I have a family member that can only use a specific type of toilet paper because of a allergic reaction they get to certain types of toilet paper. So we went around looking a lot, to find the specific, brand. And then like, and toilet paper getting so crazy out there. So like, it's like, come on, man. Like we're not getting to the point where you need a year's worth of toilet paper. I was reading an article where they said something like the average person uses a roll or two a week of toilet paper. So they were like, for 2 weeks, you need 3 to 4 rolls. And you see people getting just like stacks of the big toilet paper. And it's like, yo, man,
They're getting toilet paper that's gonna last them for like 6 months.
like what are their diets like? Is every shit they take a liquid?
They're turning around selling that toilet paper. There's a video of a lady. This lady caught this woman. She went to like a Dollar General or Dollar Tree or something like that, and she bought all of it. It was like in the morning. She bought they were loading her truck up with boxes and boxes and boxes. She bought all the toilet paper. She bought all of the paper towels, and she even bought the fucking napkins. She bought all the napkins. And then and this one lady is like, "So where are you going to be parked at? Where are you going to like set up and start selling all of this at?" Calling her out, they're like, "This is exactly what some of these people are doing." And then like Costco, I think, put up a thing where they are talking about no refunds. So all these people that are buying all of this toilet paper, You know, if they're not able to turn around and sell it, they're stuck with all that toilet paper because because sometimes people will buy like a bunch of stuff in bulk, and then when everything dies down, they don't need it. They try to return it.
If any of you guys' house gets TP'd, you guys know where all that toilet paper came from.
The funny thing is, in the U.S. we're buying so much toilet paper, and like the majority of toilet paper we sell is made in the U.S.
Yeah.
So like why are we buying this toilet paper? Like, you know, China's not going to be shipping us toilet paper anytime soon. Toilet paper is made here.
I'm telling you, they're
Not only that,
situation.
but all the newspapers that used to produce newspapers on a daily basis have reconstituted their printers to print other things like toilet paper and paper towels. So they're actually selling so the one thing that this country will never have is a shortage of toilet paper, because they just have a lot of it and available. It's just people are idiots. They're getting ahead of the shipping schedule.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I heard that there was a couple that literally, maybe like 2 weeks ago, they announced that they had already made up to like $100,000 reselling like toilet paper.
I want to see,
and they should be arrested.
Yes.
They should.
Yeah. I want to see in a post-apocalyptic film. I don't ever want to see a person not having a toilet paper roll on them. I'm gonna be like, bullshit. This country makes so much toilet paper that if the world were to go Mad Max shitty, you'll find so many warehouses filled with toilet paper. Okay, there's no way in a post-apocalyptic world nobody's gonna have toilet paper on them. All right.
Let me tell you something, Carl. Let me tell you something. Before I used toilet paper, back in the day, we used to use corn cobs. That's what we used to use. We'd eat the corn, and then at the end of the day, Carl, let me tell you, we'd use the corn cob, and it would just wipe your ass perfectly clean.
He's like, Coral. He's like, I got here 2 water bottles. One's for drinking. You know what the other one's for. Don't drink this one.
Dude. But yeah, man, people going crazy. It's stupid. It's like, come on, man.
Did you guys ever find the toilet paper you guys needed or no?
Yeah. We had to go to a Walmart.
Hanging.
we had to go to a Walmart at we left the house at like 6:15. It was right down the road, and we were there at 6:35. Right. And we were in line, and we got in pretty good at the point in line, and then we waited 25 minutes until they opened. And then we went down to where everybody was going to. Everybody went to the same area, which was the paper towel, toilet paper section. And they had 2 people that were like, and they had signs up that was like, 1 paper towel, whatever size you're going to get, and 1 toilet paper, whatever size you're going to get. So we got a big one of the specific toilet paper, and then a big one of the paper towels, and then we left.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. I'll tell you what. Some people say that in Russia, when people are standing in line for food, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
My thing is, at least none of you guys got beat up for toilet paper, man. When, one of the friends on YouTube actually got beat up for it. He actually put toilet paper in his cart. This old lady grabs the toilet paper out of his cart and hits him over the head.
Dude,
cuts him open.
I had grabbed the toilet paper we got at Walmart, under one and then under another, right? And I'm walking to the car, and then I put it away, and then my mom had to go back in because she forgot something, that she needed to get. And as I'm putting it away in the car, I see this car diagonally to our car just sitting there with the engine revved, and a person, and I couldn't see what they were, I could see there was a person there, I just couldn't see what they were doing. And so as I'm putting the stuff away, I'm thinking to myself,
this asshole's gonna take your toilet.
Yeah, just like in my head, not thinking it's really gonna happen, but just one of those funny thoughts of like, if this person tries to jump me for my toilet paper, what is my reaction gonna be? How am I gonna defend this holy, shit wipe? like, what do I do? I mean, if they got a gun, I'd be like, toilet paper's yours. If they don't got a gun, or a knife, because I don't want to get stabbed. If they got nothing, then it's the situation of, well, one of us is walking away, because I'll fight dirty, So, but and then the other scenario, you got a knife or a gun, and I'm just like, take the toilet paper. I don't need getting stabbed or shot over toilet paper is not worth it.
Yeah. Hope you guys got all toilet paper at the houses, man. I hope you guys
Oh, yeah,
have
we-
enough.
See,
to all.
I would open up my toilet paper and I would give him one of them, and that's how I roll.
You goddamn fun. Dude,
It drives me nuts. I went to the store like what was it? Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I went to the store both times, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. And then when Dixie wasn't too bad, but freaking Walmart was like, all the shelves are bare. I'm like, and then my aunt even told me. My aunt goes, "We're not even going to war. What the freak is it going on? It's everything's bare."
all the stuff they took.
It may
Yeah.
not be too bad, but is it two ply?
Yeah, and it's perishable.
I'm
that's
sorry,
the-
guys. It's getting late, so the bad jokes are coming out.
Dude,
Yeah, you're good.
they were
It's
taking.
everything they took was perishable stuff, man. Like milk, like freaking
Dude.
ham, all that stuff is
Oh,
perishable.
I went into the ramen section. The ramen was wiped out. Like, I don't eat packaged ramen anymore because I'm in my late 30s and I don't need that sodium. But
Right.
I saw all the ramen gone, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! I've never seen any. What, a bunch of college kids came through here and bought up all the ramen.
Yeah.
Some
Dude,
of the weird.
the other day I went into Publix because I just wanted to get a couple of boxes of spaghetti noodles. All
Right.
gone. All the noodles was gone. Almost all of the sauce was gone. Thank God, whatever sauce was left was actually the sauce that I enjoyed. It was the mushroom and green pepper. I was just like, all right, at least I got a couple of those.
Tim's got something for us.
And seeing how this is a comic book show, I thought I'd go ahead and show you a couple of the 9.6s that I got invested in. And just to let you guys know again, I am a 9.6 collector. Why? Because I believe those have the greater amount of a low purchase on the low end, and eventually when the book starts to hit, it has a high spike, and you can sell a 9.6 for good profit. So I always think 9.6s are still near mint comics. This goes back a little bit. This takes us all the way back to 1982. This is when Jim Starlin actually was working for Marvel, and he decided to get a little offshoot of a character that he created in a magazine for Marvel. And it's actually the first comic book printed in this new imprint. So you know me, I like to get imprints. I like to get first edition imprints. And this is from the Marvel line of Epic Comics. This is the Epic
Oh
imprint
yeah,
of
Dreadstar.
Dreadstar by Jim Starlin. Beautiful cover. Always hard to find in good shape because
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. 9.6 of Dreadstar. That's really good.
Yep, and even better, $35. You can't even get the damn things graded for $35. So
I feel like
the
you've
book-
shown this before, though.
yeah, huh?
I feel like you might have shown this before.
Oh,
not when I've been
I might
around.
have showed you my Dark Horse one that I got the other week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I got the now I've got Dark Horse. They've just been popping up on the internet for cheap, so I've been getting lucky on some of these because that's actually a $70 book. I've seen it other people at a 9.6 in the new frame, so that was actually really nice. And this one was just I actually got this one for even cheaper. I couldn't believe it. And this goes out to let me see if I remember the guy's name. But he sells a lot of graded comics. If you're on eBay, you can always tell it's him. I want to say it's something Bob Comics, but he always takes pictures of his comics on the floor on this little corner in his house with his carpet.
Okay.
So you can always identify his books. They're always on the floor. They're always on the same carpet. They're always on that same corner. And he's got a comic shop that he does online only. But I saw this. I was lucky enough to get one of those little autograph cards of this particular woman. And I said, you know what? I have the other comic book that she starred in, but wouldn't this be a nice one because it's just got a pretty painted cover. This is from Personality Comics, #4. This came out in 1991, and we've got a beautiful Christina Applegate cover.
Randall would love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's a 9.6. And these Personality Comics, honestly, they're hard to get in good shape because these were a micro press printing company. They didn't print a lot of these. The story and the interior artwork is horrible. But every once in a while, they would get a decent portrait painter, and it's like artwork, man. And that's a beautiful Christina Applegate. Here, just to go to show you, the next issue was Demi Moore. Not so pretty.
They're like what is it, Blue Water Comics that does those bio comics.
Yeah. Pretty Christina Applegate. Demi Moore as a man. Pretty Christina Applegate. So I just thought it was cool. Plus, it has a 5th ink. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got like silver title on a 5th ink.
That.
Yep, and it's a beautiful cover. So I'm going to get that autograph.
That just goes to show you that everything that gets done today has already been done before.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone who's always complaining about Blue Water's bio comics. Well, people were doing bio comics in the 90s. It's nothing new.
Yep. Nope. Hey guys, I'm gonna call it now. I'm getting a little tired and hungry and stuff, so I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, and you're the one who's got to go to work early tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in for Extreme Nerd Table, guys. We'll see you guys next week. If nothing comes up, we'll see you guys next week. I'll see you guys next week. CCW still goes on, even if I can't get to the shop. If they do lock us down, I'll still do CCW. I'll show you guys some of my collection and still teach you guys Cantonese and stuff. And I'll still be on Robert Galvin's show, the Comic Books with a Hook, and Silver Age Sundays. So I'll check you guys next week.
And we'll just lock you out anyway, Jeff. We'll get our comic. We just lock you out.
Yeah. Got anything going on?
If you love 90s comics, go to Facebook, type in 90s Comics Strike Back, ask to join the group. You just have to answer 3 simple questions. And if you love 90s comics, you will be able to answer these questions. Outside of that, I'm just working on my writing. Signed a contract recently. Can't talk about it. Got 2 or 3 more in the pipeline. So, hopefully those go through. And, working on the Kickstarter project.
Okay.
We're probably not going to be launching that until sometime in the summer. Don't know exactly when. But that is going to be awesome when everybody sees what we're doing. So this is a 90s style comic with a bit of a satire spin on it. But it's going to be action, sci-fi, really cool. But also we're doing a throwback to something that Wizard used to do in the 90s. And I don't want to reveal anything but that because it's going to be pretty awesome how we do it. And it's going to be like a lot of fun. We're going to do a Kickstarter thing and all that, and then hopefully that does well so we can do more of that.
Right.
But that's what I have, So go join the group and I'll hopefully down the line be able to announce the stuff that I have in the pipeline from publishers.
All right. Tim, you got anything going on?
Yes, I do. I have all kinds of things going on. I'm going to go out and create havoc around the world just because it's in my nature. I have a satanic ritual that I'll be attending next Saturday. Please bring all of your Satan worshiping friends. And and of course, if you know any small children that we can sacrifice, bring them too. Thank you, Jeff, for having me on your show. We greatly appreciate you doing this for us and for our customers.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Angel?
Well, I mean, you can go to, you can find one of my Facebook groups, which is the Comic Book Collectors League. You can go on there. There's 2 pages. There's the group page, and then there's a like page. If you try to join the group page, guess what? Not even one hard question for you to answer. You can just click on it, try to join the group. I go on there. I check to see if you're a real person. If you're a real person, you're in the group. Easy. And then I got the like page, so you can like the page. So if you don't want to be in the group, but you still want to support Comic Book Collectors League, you can like the page. Same thing for Blank Variant Comics. Blank Variant Comics, I have a like page. The group page is more of a buy, sell, trade group page. So like if you have any comic books, any stuff that you want to sell, you can request to join the group. Again, I check to see if you're a real person. I think I put a couple questions on there. I don't remember. It's been a while. But you can go on there and start selling, and you can find me on there. You can always ask me questions. Interact with me if you like. If not, no worries. I have plenty of people to interact with. But yeah, give it a
Corona.
Oh, people can see me. People can see me on YouTube. My play is up and made public on YouTube. For those of you knuckleheads who didn't come out and see me, my play, feel free to go to Mylar Madness and go to one of my playlists that has Venus and Fur. It's an hour and about 40 minutes. You get to see wonderful performances by myself and a young lady named Kendra Lyons, who is a new talent in the area. She's originally from the Chicago area. I would suggest you pop on there and check it out.
Two things before you wrap this up. You son of a bitch. I don't have any hard questions on my fucking Facebook group, okay, Randall? They're easy questions, you bastard. I just don't like assholes in the group. Two, I forgot to mention, I will be with the Night Hunters sabotaging Mylar Man's satanic ritual. We'll be taking down his satanic league and their demon lords. So if anyone wants to join us, it's going to be a meeting next week on Saturday at 7 p.m. We'll have cookies and coffee.
Cookies? You had me at cookies.
All right, guys, I'm gonna end it now.
Yeah.
All right.
Give me a second. Good, takes a little bit.